Boom. We are pre-recorded, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm grateful you are all here, and I don't want the stream to be interrupted by the crappy internet that we have here in Costa Rica. And even though I'm grateful that I have any connection, I want to make sure that the data that you guys receive is crisp, clear, and of the best quality that we can hopefully provide, at least with this particular setup. So again, remember, if you enjoy this content, which I'm sure all of you do, smash that thumbs up button. And if you don't, if you're one of those weirdos, dislike it. Go ahead, press that dislike button. Or if you, I guess if you like Roger Ver, hit the dislike button. So that's about how many dislikes we'll get. We might get more dislikes that way. First time ever, the most dislikes on Tijo's video. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. It's always fun to experiment with you guys. I'm grateful to be here. We had huge runs in the Binance token, FLO, ADA, and Raven. All the tokens that we were looking at in the private bear den all exploded in the last 3 days. That is just a happy coincidence. There's no way that was on purpose. All we can do is watch consolidation areas, and look up for the rising volume indicators, and all of them went. Happy-go-lucky was that. So shout out to all the bear family that had taken positions in those different tokens. FLO was up almost 50% at its high last night, around 2,200 Satoshis from around 1,500 that we were looking at earlier in the day. Raven jumped all the way up to, I believe, what might be the top of the fifth wave, or maybe it was just the extension of the third wave. And if that's the case, that was huge. That was a huge move. So we'll be taking a look at that, as well as the Binance token, which has actually just started that move. So there's a little bit more room for potential play. And Bitcoin has stayed relatively stagnant, almost at exactly the $4,050 range, while we've had 30 to 40% gains in the other tokens we've been playing. So if we dive in, we take a look right off the bat. We're going to start off with Ravencoin here. So the other day, yesterday, that was actually yesterday. Nice to know that that was yesterday. God, sometimes my mind feels a little green, a little gray. We saw this run up to what I consider was the top of the third wave. We had a very short consolidation on the fourth wave. Now, a lot of the times, my recognition of the fourth wave comes with a little bit more meandering. So we could actually hypothesize that that was only wave 3. Which would put wave 4 even higher, or sorry, wave 5 even higher on Ravencoin. So we're going to be watching what happens now. If we have a meandering sideways anywhere up between the 1226 to the 1382 Satoshi range, that is going to indicate to me that this was not a wave 4 that we had down here. And again, I took a bunch of profits around the 1200 area, because it's like, oh, cool, that's good, 100% is great. And I think this is an important part to remember, is that it's better to follow a strategy. That way, even if you exit a position, you feel comfortable with the fact that you did what you intended to do. That's a really, really powerful way to look at this, I guess, this game, if you want to call it such. It's where if I get upset about the fact that I didn't sell, and then it goes lower, well, then I've lost. Whereas if I just take my profits, it goes a little higher. I followed my strategy. I took a win, and I emotionally exited my position. I didn't emotionally exit or enter a position, and that to me is a really valuable win. So with Raven here, we're going to be keeping a close eye on it to look for that meandering fourth wave that I was interested in seeing. And it may have actually happened down here around the 11,000 Satoshi, or sorry, 1100 Satoshi mark, but it's very short. It doesn't really fall in that meandering field that I was looking for, because it just didn't sit there long enough. So if that's the case, and this is the top of wave 3, we could see an even more explosive wave 5, all the way up to between 1800 to 2200 Satoshis on Ravencoin here. So we'll keep a close eye on that over the next few days to look for a meandering 4 potentially, and then an extension to 5, or was that the 3? Was it a really short kind of inundated 4, and is this the extension of the 5 that might bring us all the way up to 1650? So we'll get to watch there. Again, technical analysis is you're trying to chart human emotion, so it does fluctuate. We don't actually know exactly what's going to happen, but we can make broad stroke estimates, and we've actually been pretty close with some of this. And again, in the trading strategy, that's what we're looking for. You're just looking for entry and exit points, not exact entry and exits. You can never sell the top exactly, and you can never buy the bottom exactly. Not every time. You can get close, and that in itself is good enough for a strategy-based trade. And that's what I want to consistently recommend. Now, for those of you that have been interested in asking about the bear den, we are opening that we'll be opening it through the month of April. So the newsletter will come out at the month. You'll actually get you'll get basically an intro email, which is there's a bunch of trading information, some general statistics, ideas, trader tips, this kind of stuff. We'll also be doing updates. We'll have a private push Telegram where it's just the traders who push out information on the coins we're looking at, such as Raven, Binance, and FLO the last few days, because they've been just monsters in this space. And sometimes that's only the information that you want. And I know that the community bear channel, there's conversations all over the place, and we appreciate that. But the private bear channel will just be a push channel. We'll also have some of the notes that come out on the website, but that might take us another few weeks to finish updating. So if you want, go down to the links below. You can sign up. It's $20 a month recurring. You can pay in Bitcoin for the entire year, and you get a 20% discount, but that's not set up yet either. We're just putting it all together now, but we've already had a few of you sign up, so I don't want to just hold back and open the floodgates all at once. So everyone, take your time, sign up. You'll get all the way till the end. You'll be pushed through all the way till April, and then next month recurring will start May. So I'm very grateful for all those people that have already signed up. It's actually very impressive. I really appreciate that. That's giving us the flow to get everyone else going. And then from there, we'll continue to do all of our live updates daily like this. A lot of the information that we'll include in the newsletter will probably end up in this space for free, but you won't have it written. You'll have to go and jump back to the videos, and sometimes they're 15-minute videos. So it just makes a lot more sense to have it all consolidated in an area where it's very valuable for you guys. So jumping into Binance token next. This is one we had been watching consolidate over the last little while. And actually we had it on the Bear Den pick for a little bit longer than that, all the way since around 3,600 Satoshis. Is that what it was? 36,000? Right here. To the 25,000 Satoshi mark, right when we did something very similar to what Raven had done. Raven had this nice cup and handle, very similar, over multi-weeks here between June and February. And now we've seen that extension come out on Binance token. So here, generally for a cup and handle, and again, this is just, it's not an exact strategy, but it's pretty damn close. You look for a full extension of the size of the cup itself. So here we saw that. We saw the jut up to the extension of the 38,000 Satoshi mark. And this is where I actually was, I got a little bit more like worried about my position, and I exited the part that I had taken. Now the fact that we're seeing this jump up to the 1618, this just leads into the other idea that we had also seen with Raven, is that if you have a cup and handle extension off of one of the top of the previous waves, it might become a larger wave. So here we actually saw, let's grab my ABC or LE impulse wave. So we saw, you could count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although normally the 3 waves are quite a bit bigger, you might want to actually draw it like this, just because it fits the pattern more ostensibly, I guess. You have a big 3, and then a nice 5 here. So if this now becomes a 1, this is the really interesting part, and for any of you guys that were trading with us in early August of 2016, these are the ones that are super exciting. And this is really fun to note that even though Bitcoin has stayed relatively stagnant, we're seeing massive moves in the rest of the space, just going to prove that the blockchain ecosystem doesn't rely on just Bitcoin. This technology changes all of the games, not just the financial sector. So you got to keep an eye on it in every space. To ignore the other areas is ignorant in my point of view. And although I love Tone Vays, Tyler Jenks, and the rest of the Bitcoin maximalists for the way they believe so thoroughly in Bitcoin, I myself am not married to these ideas. I love this momentum. I love the waves in the ocean. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm only going to hit waves at Nazari. I don't even think I could surf that. I'd probably die on that. Shout out to Toby, who surfs that wave, and that shit looks scary as hell. But anyways, the point of this is some of the big waves don't always show up. So if you happen to be in other areas where these fantastic 12 to 40% gains in the Binance token, in Raven, I'm not going to not surf those just because I'm married to Bitcoin. It doesn't make any sense. I want to learn how to ride the waves, and I want to get better at doing just that. That's what trading is. It's not about being married to your particular sentiment or your belief in something. It's about playing in the water. So with Binance here, you might actually see a larger extension. Now, we're in a kind of a gray area, right? These are the ideas where, because Binance has already hit a bunch of large extensions all the way up to the 1.618, Now we're looking for a meandering 4 and the potential wave to up all the way up to 67,000 potentially. So this is going to be a really interesting to watch. And then same with FLO token, or Florin Coin, I guess is the technical name for it, or whatever. Florin's had these nice big runs. Here you can see the full length of the data. So back in May 2017, we had a high of 3,900 Satoshis, and we've been descending since that. Now, originally we started looking at Florin token, and back here we had a nice big wave run up to 2,200. That was a fantastic one. I'm stoked for everyone that enjoyed that ride as well. So now the big question is, was this a wave 1, a wave 2, and are we starting the potentiality of a wave 3? Because if we zoom in and look at the, this is a rough drawing. Don't take this one on Florin for any grain of salt here, because I'm gonna have to zoom in significantly for this to make sense. If I roll into the 15-minute chart here, what you start to see is the development of the potential wave 1, which we saw just last night. So, and not only that, that wave 1 actually broke out past the previous all-time high of the last wave 1. So if this was a wave 1 of wave 3, so right, because you have Elliott waves inside of Elliott waves. These are fractal patterns. They actually exist inside one another. So if this was a wave 1 now of a larger wave potential 3, we're going to go much higher in Florin Coin as well. I suspect that we could break into all-time highs. I wouldn't jump in this token yet until you see a confirmation of either a potential further down wave to touch the 100-day exponential moving average around 100. Again, you can see it in the gap here, the profile fill on the volume gap. Right around this area, 1859 is also where the 100-day exponential moving average is. Although you can see as well here on the VPR on the right-hand side here, you have a fairly large fill profile starting to form around the $2,000 area as well. So it might not go too much lower than that, although aiming to having buys set up at that 100-day exponential moving average on these waves is usually a pretty safe way to play. Although none of this is investment advice, so trade at your own risk, ladies and gentlemen. This is all up to you. This is just extra information to help you guys make it along your way. I hope this is helpful. We'll be back online again tomorrow with the updates. And if you want to, sign up for the private Bear Den members, the Grizzly Bear Club. Haven't sure exactly what we're going to call it. Something like this. Private notes. I'll probably do 1 or 2 like private updates, video updates for everyone as well. For that, it's just like as a thank you. And then the push Telegram channel and the private notes that we save on the website. There's 3 other traders that are going to be joining me in writing that, so they will sign their names on their work, because it's not like, for instance, they were watching Binance token and Cardano yesterday for their runs, where I was more focused on FLO and Raven finishing off their runs, because I only try to take on so much risk and attention at one time. Anyways, give us those thumbs up, join the private Telegram channel, join the free newsletter if you want that instead, www.arcanebear.com, and we'll see you guys on the other side. We hope you have a fantastic day, evening, morning, night, whatever it might be. We wish you the best. Trade on, Bear family, trade on.